Okay, so this is case number ZH20230154. That's 1041 Celestial Street. We are continued in progress from November 1st. I'm going to start with the applicant and the owner, Mr. Back, Mr. Green. Would either of you like to tell me about your discussions, excuse me, or anything that's happened between our last hearing and now?
Andrew, you want me to go ahead?
It doesn't matter. We met with the
I'll
guy.
start.
We met with the guy, and he had some questions, really actually pertaining to his view, and he has a view from his third floor, and it appears that the primary objection was what his view was going to look like from the third floor of his house. And once he realized the structure got smaller as it went up, his objections disappeared. That's the summary of the conversation.
Okay, great. I know we got into some of the details of the project last time. Could we just do a quick summary, just for the record, of the project and the relief that's being requested?
Yes, the summary of the project is we propose to remove the existing single-family residence and in its place build a new three-story residence. It would have four attached garage spaces and spaces for visitors, 4 spaces in front of it. The building, as it lays out, it steps back each floor. So the second floor gets smaller than the first floor. The first floor gets smaller, or the third floor gets smaller than the second floor. And we need some variances. Most of them are very small variances. We do need some variances due to the hillside averaging. Our first setback is the rear yard setback. We need a relief of approximately 3.5 feet for the rear yard setback. And the left side, which would be the east side setback, we're asking for a relief of 2.7, and that's that 2.7 is really applied going down the left side of our house, the east side. The back section of the house sticks out projects out from the front 2/3 of the house. The back third projects out about 3 feet, and that caused us to that projection that caused us to need to variance that back third of the house. But as we explained to the neighbor Thomas, which they didn't understand, they were looking at the floor plan saying, well, that's a lot closer than the other house, that back corner. That affects our view some. But then we pointed out that the second floor steps back in approximately 12 feet. That back part of the house steps in 12 feet, which is actually in further than the existing house, that back corner of the house. So I think that relieves some of his concerns, a lot of his concerns, because he was taking that first floor footprint and projecting it all the way up to the second and third floor, which was a little more in his view in the existing house. And then when we explained that the second floor steps back, and then I think the second and third floors were stepped back, I think that helped to relieve some of his concern, because actually the second and third floor is in a little, the back corner of the house is in a little bit from the existing house. So I think that helped to relieve some of his concerns. The front setback, which is our front setback, we're asking for relief of 18.5 feet. And that's we're pretty much within a foot or so average of the next 4 houses going up the street to the west. But our house, we have to take the average of the houses on both sides, and the house to the left of us, he has a very large setback. I think it's 50.9 feet. So that throws our average all off. In fact, the next house going down the street to the east, past the house right next to us, it's right up on the sidewalk. So that one house threw our averages all out of whack for the rest of the street. So our new front yard is very close, probably within a foot or so of what the existing house front setback is, and it's in line for the average of the next 4 houses up the street to the right. Let's see here. Okay, the height setback, which once again, our 3rd floor is a lot smaller. It's a very small footprint. We're asking for relief from the height of 3.8 feet at the front of the front facade of the house, but that's not all the way that front. As we explained before, that 3rd floor is set back. It's not out at the front of the house. It's set back probably, I want to say maybe 25 feet, plus or minus, but it has a substantial setback from the 2nd floor. But the front of the house, we're asking for the 3.8 foot height variance, and then the back of the house, because we have to do that average using the grades 35 foot at the front and back. The relief at the back of the 3rd floor for the height relief, we're asking for 5.8 feet. So even though the roof doesn't get any higher, the grade in the back does, so it causes us to ask for more relief on the rear of the house. The hillside are cut and fill, going to the bottom of our footing for the retaining wall. We have to use the existing grade at the front. We need a 6-foot variance for that, for the overall cut from the front of the house to the back for that retaining wall to the bottom of our footing for that retaining wall. But a lot of that, which we mentioned before, even though that cut is, a lot of that cut has already been made by the existing house that's in there. It had a full basement under it. There was a swimming pool in the back. So a lot of that cut was already made.
Is the swimming pool being retained?
Andrew, do you want to address that?
We haven't decided that yet. We have a plan with it. We're working on the green thing. If we're having a trouble with the green, we're going to convert it to a jacuzzi.
Okay.
The current plans call for a new swimming pool in the general area, a little further back than the existing pool. But our plans as submitted do call for a new swimming pool.
Okay. And the cut fill is a portion of that going to be for the new swimming pool? Cut fill relief?
Yes, the swimming pool would be that's included in the area of the area we're requesting the 6-foot variance. We would, even without the swimming pool, we would still need that variance because that's the retaining wall. At the back of our site, you'll see a retaining wall. It goes along the back of the pool in the patio area. So we would have that same retaining wall regardless if we had the pool or not. So that height, let me look at my sections here just to make sure I'm speaking correctly. Yeah, that is to the bottom of the footing for the retaining wall, not to the top, doesn't include the piers, but it's for the bottom of the retaining wall where it sits, approximately 2.5, 3 foot below grade. That's where our walls. But that wall would be there. We would need that variance, irregardless if we had a pool or not. We would still have that wall back there.
Okay.
Then we needed a 20-foot wide variance for for our driveways. There's a 20-foot limitation. We got two 20-foot driveways. There is a house up the street. It has 2 driveways. A couple houses up the street. And then we have some bay windows on the 2nd floor, which we need some relief for them. We need 7 foot of width release, not for how far they step out, but the width release, the width of them. I believe the bay windows, well, they're allowed to be 18 foot, like maximum bay window. Hang on. I think you're allowed on the bay windows or front bay. Yeah, 1/3 of the front width of the house you're allowed. So our 2 bay windows go over the allowable 1/3 of the width of the 50 foot. So we need, for those bay windows, we need a 7.02 foot variance for the width of them. That's our variances. So most of the variances are relatively small variances.
Okay.
And we have met with the neighbors on both sides. Now we met with Tomas, who lives across the street. We had previously met with the neighbors on both sides. And we met with the, I guess it's the building committee for the Mount Adams Civics Association. We met with them, so they're familiar with the plan.
Okay. And was there any feedback from the neighbors or the Mount Adams Civic Association?
The Mount Adams Civics Association.
There was no objections. There was no objections. That's how they worded it.
Okay. Mr. Back, were you going to add something to that?
No, the only thing that the thing that the Mount Adams Civics Association requested that we didn't have, when we went to them, we didn't have a full-blown test. We didn't have test points, and we had a preliminary geotechnical engineering report based on their knowledge of the hillside. But they actually wanted us to do test borings and have a report based on test borings. So we went ahead and did all that for them. We went ahead and got test borings made and had a full-blown report based on the test borings. That's what they requested us to do, and we did it and got back with them with the report.
Okay. All right. Anything else you wanted to add now? Or anything else you want to say about the application before I move over to Wes and let him provide some testimony?
Andrew?
Nope.
Okay, Wes, what would you like to add?
Hi, I just would like to add that overall we thought the series of requests was reasonable, given the context, given the lot width, given the other elements of like the lot next door having a large front setback. The cut and fill is relatively minor, and Dennis did a drawing that I requested him showing on page 5 of the report the existing basement level of the existing house overlapped on his proposed section drawing. It shows there's a fairly minor amount of excavation. It shows that existing pool, and that the other, like the height and the bay window width and all that is very reasonable request given the overall context. So thanks.
Okay, thank you, Wes. All right, anything else from the applicant or owner on this?
No.
Okay. All right, we'll leave it at that then. So I mentioned at the beginning of the last hearing that the decisions typically take about 2 weeks. I am inclined to approve this. I agree with Wes that it is reasonable. I'd like to just review all of the testimony from the last hearing and all of the application materials one more time before I render a final decision. Typically what I do here is I'll I'll have a formal written decision of approval. And I'll typically put that into a PDF after it's finished, email it to everybody in the hearing. And as soon as you have a copy of that, Wes can approve the zoning permitting on his end. And then hopefully at that point you can move forward. But I'd like to just do one more holistic review just because this came in two pieces. I know that you guys have been patient waiting to get this approved. And so I'll do everything I can to get that decision out to you as quickly as possible. Any questions about the process or anything like that?
Did
Nope.
you hear, did you hear anything back from Tomas?
So I did not hear anything back from Tomas until I called him today. And of course, this is off the record. I mean, this would be something he would need to actually say on the record officially. But he told me that he no longer had an objection and that he was now neutral after the discussions with you all. And that's typically how I would treat this matter. If someone just didn't show up, like a neighbor didn't show up, I sort of default to neutral unless they express some position of opposition or support. And so that's how I'll approach this. And yeah.
Okay, well, we appreciate your suggestion to go meet with him, because I think when we understood, we got to see his view, and then he understood the plans a lot better after we had the opportunity to meet with him. So that was a good suggestion from you for us to take the time and get together.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you doing that. I think a lot of these hearings go a lot smoother when everyone knows exactly what the proposals are and has a chance to discuss them. So I appreciate you all taking that time to do that. And like I said, I'll try to turn this around as quickly as I can for you guys, and hopefully you can get started.
And I appreciate Wes' help. He had a lot of time on this. I think I met with him 3 different times because there's a lot going on, and I appreciate all his time and work on it.
Okay. Well, great. Thank you all again. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. If you'd like a status update on where I'm at with the decision, feel free to reach out to me directly. I'm happy to provide that for you guys.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.